like it ripped but out of nowhere, all around you is not what you foretold. You never see it coming.
One left. 2 more to go. Well, it's been some time since I did a last video game review. So today I thought, let's review another game. I am reviewing Clancy's Splinter today, the PS2 version. It is a stealth game made by Ubisoft, 2003. And yeah, it's one of the first of its kind. I mean, it's not the first stealth game, but it's one of the first to use what I like to call the modern controls. The story has its twists and turns, but it's basically just your average spy thriller. And yeah, it doesn't really have to be anything else. I mean, I was never really invested in the story, but it wasn't bad. I am not too pleased with the graphics. The game was developed with the original Xbox and PC in mind, and that's probably where you should play the game. It looks okay on PS2, but the frame rate is sometimes pretty bad, and it's really not that impressive graphically. I feel as if they didn't care to optimize the game for PS2, and just put it on the console, let it run like it ran, kinda like they did with Psychonauts, and that didn't run too well on PS2. I mean, it doesn't look so bad that it hurts, but it's not good enough to excuse the frame rate. The soundtrack, it works. It does nothing more, nothing less. I mean, the tracks work to build suspense and that kind of stuff, but none of them are really that memorable. I can't see myself listening to the music from the game, but like I said, it works for a stealth game. Now the most important part, the gameplay. Well, let's just say it hasn't aged that well. It doesn't necessarily do anything that badly, but it has been done so many times in newer games that this feels clunky and aged by today's standards. The first thing I noticed when starting the game were the disgusting menus. They kinda look like, an old computer, kinda green colored and pixelated symbols. And they might think it looks cool, but it just looks outdated and you can see that it's from the early 2000s. The cursor in the menu feels off. It's unresponsive. I mean, it's not like I can't control the cursor, but in most games you can just hold it down and like scroll through the menus. Here I have to do one step in a time, like that. That. It's not a huge problem, but every time I did go into the menu, it didn't feel too good. When actually playing the actual game, I was a little frustrated by the unpleasant mechanics. Both running and jumping felt off, especially jumping. It felt, kind of delayed. You get used to it while playing, but I mean, so many games do running and jumping right that, that's one of the last things you should fuck up on, because you do that all the time. The gameplay itself is based on stealth and completing objectives within every of the 10 missions. Sometimes you're also limited to some limits, like not being allowed to kill anyone in the stage or a certain number of alarms you can make. The levels are a kind of mixed bag. The level design is actually pretty good, but some levels were a chore. I'm mainly looking at the first 2 levels. They were boring and just way too hard for how early in the game they were. I found myself using a guide multiple times, and that's not something you should have to do, really. Sometimes what you gotta do is almost cryptic. It took 5 minutes for me to find a trapdoor in the first area of the first mission. Yeah, that sounds pretty bad, doesn't it? The last 5 missions or so, they were fun. They were actually good. That's the second half. And you will have to cut this a lot because I do a lot of mistakes.
I ain't cutting shit.
The last half of the game was actually pretty fun, but, to come to that you have to play some pretty boring levels first. Like, if you do a failure, you have to restart from the checkpoint, And it can be really annoying because the game is kind of slow, tedious, and yeah, I would say it's a boring game. So like, you move slowly, and you know, doing the same thing over and over again because you suck at the game, that's not really fun. So let's say you're gonna remove a guard. So you knock him out, drag him into the like a shadow or something so they can't see him, and then like I fail, and I'll have to restart and drag him slowly to the shadows, and it's so damn frustrating. So this is not a game for anyone with low patience. I found myself squeezing the controller till it almost cracked multiple times. So I really can't see why you would enjoy this game as much as some people do, giving it 9 out of 10s, 10 out of 10s. So yeah, it's not a bad game. It's well made in some areas, and for its time it was probably pretty impressive. But you know, the high reviews it got, that's puzzling me, because to me the game isn't really that amazing, not even for its time. Yeah, so as you hear, I didn't enjoy the game too much. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't terrible, you know. Yeah, it was okay. Especially the later half of the game, that was actually pretty fun, I enjoyed it. So I will give the game a 6.5 out of 10. So yeah, it wasn't bad, but it was kind of forgettable and not that special in any area. So about this reviewing stuff. If this review is a failure, I think I'm gonna change up the entire formula for the reviews, because it's not going that well as it is now. My reviews are clunky, and yeah, I fail a lot, that kind of stuff. Let's just hope that my amazing editor Aaron can fix this video, because if he can't, then fuck him. What? Then I might have to change the entire formula to, like, instead of doing, game reviews, like reviewing them, giving them scores and shit, and I just talk about the game, what I like, what I don't like, that kind of stuff. Or maybe stop reviewing singular games altogether and just, do, like, I don't know, top 10 lists. That generates a lot of views, and people seem to love that stuff. So yeah, bye.
What will it take just to find that special